I was curious if you felt that we could see ourselves in a pickle between having to raise interest rates on Treasury bills for funding the country and the cost of servicing that debt in the future.
Well, sort of the answer is implicit in the question. The answer is clearly, if you merely take what the proposed, or I should say, what the forecast deficit is, and what the issuance of Treasury securities of all types are, without getting into the sort of abstruse mathematics of this, but in a very general way, an economy can only absorb a certain amount of it creates a certain amount of savings plus the amount of savings you can borrow from abroad, which is our current account deficit. And that amount of savings must fill the requirements of the society. And when you have the first-time caller, which is the federal government, meaning they have the first draft on the funds, if that amount is much too large, then you have the demand in the private sector exceeding the residual supply of savings, and that drives real interest rates higher enough to snuff out the demand in the private sector, which means that capital investment goes down, housing gets crushed, and the like. So the way the numbers read today, that's the type of problem we have. And unless, as I've written in several places, we stretch out this whole program, because you cannot basically have the very large fiscal requirements that we had before the election, coupled with the additional requirements with the new priorities of the current administration. You just arithmetically cannot fit that into the sum of our fairly modest private savings, and as well as our current account deficit. Something has got to give, and the simplest way to do it is basically to take the timetable and just stretch it out. And I think that is inevitably, something's got to happen. And I must say, to his credit, the language I'm hearing from the president, I find quite encouraging in this regard in the last several weeks, actually.